Have you ever been ready to ride out before and your bike just won't start? Well, let's take a look at a few things that could be causing your bike not to start. Alright, so the number one thing that most people forget when they're about to start their bike is the kill switch, or some would call it the engine cutoff switch. Now, if the engine cutoff switch is in the on position, the bike will not start. You have to turn the engine cutoff switch to the off position in order for the bike to start. So once you've checked the engine cutoff switch and it's in the correct position and your bike still won't start, the next thing that I would advise you to do is to check to see if you have enough gas. Now, to ensure that you have enough gas, you simply open the gas tank and check to see if there's enough gas in the gas tank. Many times, a lot of us like to ride our bikes until, it runs dry, right? Because why? We like to get our money's worth at the gas station, right? So we like to run the tank dry and then we go to the gas station. In many cases, you may just as well did that and the bike just won't start because there's no gas. Simply take your key and open your gas tank and check inside to ensure that there's gas inside. Okay, so let's say you've checked the gas and you have enough gas in your gas tank, but yet still the bike just won't start. Well, there could be another thing. A lot of these carbureted bikes come with what's called a petcock. Fuel injected bikes do come with a petcock as well. What you want to do is to ensure that the petcock is in the on position or even in the reserve position. If it's in the off position, no gas will be going to your engine. So my petcock is right here. It's covered by this nice little side cover right here. So I'm going to take that off and show you how the petcock looks. So let's get this side cover removed. Okay, so we got the side cover removed. So basically we're going to check out the petcock, which is right under here. Alright, so this here is the petcock. Now mine is currently in the reserve position. Now if your petcock is turned this way, it is turned off, and that basically means no gas will be going from the gas tank to the carburetor if you have a carbureted bike, or to the fuel injector if you have a fuel injected bike, or basically to the engine. Alright, so this is in the on position. So reserved is mainly used for when you're low on fuel and you're basically trying to get to a gas station just to fuel up. Once you get gas in the bike, then you turn it to the on position. Now in Jamaica, enough guys basically like to ride around with theirs on reserve. It's kind of a bad thing, because if your bike is always on reserve, what if you run so low that you don't even realize, right? And then you're all done. It has happened to me before where I keep my bike on reserve and I've been riding around and I realized my gas was finishing. So I stopped to turn it on reserve. But when I look, it was already on reserve. So I was basically out of gas and I had to turn back, push my bike to a gas station, fuel up, and then turn it to the on position like that. So just a side note, just something you can do, for in the future or so. Alright, so the next thing that you can check if your bike still won't start is the choke. Now, on many carbureted bikes, there is a choke. On my bike, the choke is right up here on the handlebar. In other bikes, the choke may be down where the carburetor is, but anywhere that your choke is, please do find it and ensure that the choke is set to the off position. The reason being is if you're starting your bike in cold weather, you would normally turn it to the on position. For me, the on position is down here. I would flip it down like this and that would be on. Now basically what that would do is to flood the bike with gas in cold weather so that it can start and get up to idle speed. Now in hot weather or in the tropics like where I live, we rarely use the choke. So do ensure that the choke is off. If you're starting your bike and it won't start, ensure the choke is off. In other cases, if you've already turned the choke on and you're trying to start the bike, you may be already flooding the bike. Basically, flooding the bike is putting too much gas, or should I say sending too much gas in the engine. In that case, the bike will not start if it's flooded. Other times it may start and it may backfire as soon as it starts. So what you want to do, if you've already turned the choke on or if you're flooding the bike, is turn the choke off, and you can try starting the bike without the choke being on. Otherwise, do not give the bike any gas when you're trying to start it. That's another case of flooding the bike. Enough persons, when they're starting their bike, they tend to open the gas, or should I say give it gas, and start it that way. In many cases that would flood the bike. So to unflood the bike, basically you can let it sit for a minute or so. If you have time, make it sit for a couple minutes. Otherwise, what you want to do is to turn the choke off and try starting your bike without giving it any gas. It may not start, but after a while the gas will eventually run through, and then your bike would start. So what if you do all those steps and your bike still is not starting? What else can you do? Don't worry, it's not the end of the line. There are a couple more things that you can check to see if those could be causing the problem. Another thing that you can check is to ensure the battery is good. If you have a dead battery, or if the battery is low on power, or should I say if the battery is not well charged, then the bike will not turn over. You might hear some clicking sounds as if maybe it sounds like a taser of the sort, but that is an indication that your battery is weak or is going dead or is dead already. Alright, so a couple more things that you can check if your bike still won't start is the spark plug. Now, if your spark plug is old or if it's worn out, basically, a good way to check your spark plug is to pull the spark plug out, and there's a way that you can test it by connecting it to the frame of the bike and also connecting one end to the spark plug wire. If you try to start it and it gives a spark, that means the spark plug is good. If it doesn't give any spark, that means the spark plug is bad. So you might want to consider changing your spark plug. Additionally, on some of the newer bikes like my friend's Yamaha R3, or you have like your Honda or your Suzuki, those newer bikes, let's say 2012, 2013, they're coming with some electronics which actually can be hindering your bike from starting. Let's say my friend's Yamaha R3, I know for a fact that if you don't put up the kickstand or if you don't kick up the kickstand, the bike will not start. Say there's a sensor that's attached to the kickstand, so if the kickstand is down, the bike would never start. And it's the same for a lot of these Hondas, Suzukis, you know, all these newer bikes, whether 600, 250, 300, they're coming with some electronics that actually hinder them from starting in certain situations. Also, if you do not pull the clutch in before starting, the bike will not start. Some bikes, they have to be in neutral for them to start. Other bikes, you just have to pull the clutch in whether you're in gear or not, and that would act as neutral and the bike would start. Some bikes as well, if the kill switch is not to the off position, which is down here, and if the stand is not up and all those stuff, they just won't start. So you just have to ensure that you take the proper precautions or the proper steps to ensure that you check everything on the bike to ensure everything is in the correct position before you ride. Alright, so those are some steps that you can take to ensure that none of those things are causing your bike not to start. So if you've done all that I went through today and your bike still is not starting, I would definitely recommend that you check a mechanic. Call a friend, tell them that your bike is not starting, and have them come check out your bike. It may be something additional which is electrical that maybe you can't look into, or maybe it's something even mechanical. Those sort of things that are, more than what I did here. I would recommend getting a mechanic. If you're mechanically inclined, then no problem, go ahead and do it. Those are my tips, or should I say those are some reasons, common reasons on why your bike would not be starting when you want it to start. So if you guys like the video today, go ahead and give it a huge thumbs up. Remember to always leave a comment. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this video and some of the things I spoke about. If you have anything additional that you want to say, leave it down there in the comment. All right, thank you guys once again for watching. Paradise Biker out. Bless up, respect always.